Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in with Conversations with Daniel Macomber. Man, it has been a couple of months. It's been a long time since I've been able to come on here and do a podcast. I want to apologize for the delay. I have been extremely busy with life and just pushing through. And I've been working basically 3 jobs to try to boost my own economy, move things forward until we can get things fixed with our new president, Donald J. Trump, and get this economy fixed. And so I am grateful for the ability to be able to take some time to really just focus into my financial situation and to be able to work and to just really focus on that. And so as a result, my schedule has not allowed me to be able to come on here and make these podcasts as frequently as I was doing when I first started these podcasts near the end of last year. So here I am again, and there is so many things that have gone on. And I do want to apologize for the lighting in here for any of you that are watching the video. I hope it's not too distracting, too off, but we'll hopefully get that fixed in the near future. Personally, we had to move and fortunately moved closer to where we work and closer to our business here in Dunn, North Carolina. So it's been a good thing, but it came kind of unexpectedly as our landlord passed away. And with his passing, all the tenants of the homes that he owned were required to be moved out. And so that came a little bit as a shock. So we've been moving a lot of different things, and as a result, don't have the best lighting, but we'll move forward. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, how has it been going? How have you been feeling? I always encourage your comments, especially if you are, you know, you're thinking what I'm thinking. If you are willing to open your mind and to understand and to comprehend what is going on right now, you see, the propaganda is so thick and it's really disgusting, especially what the Democratic Party is doing right now, because I want to make it very, very clear. I have always been a conservative, but I have loved my liberal friends. I have loved my Democratic friends, and I can still tell you it's such a beautiful thing when 2 people meet each other and you just feel this beautiful energetic connection and you begin to talk to each other and you just connect on a different level than politics and religion and things like that that can be so divisive. It's a beautiful thing. And there's some people that I don't even know their political view. They might be as liberal as can be, but they love me for who I am. And that's the type of friends I love to make. But I also like to learn different perspectives and understand. And sometimes I take a few moments here and there to listen to the other side and try to see what are they saying? What are they feeling? I mean, I know what it's like to be part of the losing party, to your candidate didn't win and things seem to be going really, really bad, just like they went really, really bad the last 4 years with whoever was running our country, because as sure as hell, it wasn't Joe Biden. Turns out that he was using an auto pen. And that's pretty disturbing considering that a lot of people believe Joe Biden really was the president. You would not believe how many people will make comments on my social media or even tell me in person that Joe Biden was fine until the last 6 months. No, he wasn't. It was very clear to all of us, and we weren't just saying this because we're trying to be mean, like a lot of the left is trying to do about Trump right now, where they try to say that Trump is not in a good mental state and stuff like that. there's a big difference between the way Joe Biden looked right at the beginning of his presidency. He looked like he was spaced out. And it's just because the news media didn't admit it till 6 months before the end of his presidency. Just because Kamala Harris lied about it and wouldn't come clean about it does not mean it's not true. And this is the type of the thing that the left is doing now. They are covering up and lies and keeping such propaganda before the people. And unfortunately, there's some people, they can't even keep their story straight. You know, one day Trump's a Russian asset. Now he's a Saudi Arabia globalist pawn. Which one is it? Um, the story changes day by day. The definitions change day by day. It's really ironic. This has been happening for a long time. I will tell you, even I have been in denial of it, of how much the definitions have changed, how much the definitions have been changing. And so, over these last several months, since my last podcast, there's been so many different things that have happened. We have had thousands, literally, of executive orders by our president, Donald J. Trump, that he has passed. He has kept every single one of his promises. The border is more secure than ever. The border crossings are down 90%. It's my understanding he just called up the military to pull in there, and they're just going to seal it up the rest of the way and make sure that it's properly secured and move forward until the next step. And so many wonderful things have been going on. Tariffs have been a big controversial thing that is going on. And a lot of people, including big names, big wigs, economists, have said that tariffs are dangerous for our country. Well, that's true, especially when they're tariffs put on our country by other countries. And yet we have had tariffs put on us for so many years, where we pay the health care of so many other different countries, where we provide them their defense. Well, we do everything for them, and we ourselves are exhausted and tired and miserable and have no money and have an enormous deficit. We let every country take from us. Um, and then people want to cry about these tariffs. And yes, some of these tariffs, like with China is going to have to learn their lesson. They're not wanting to back down. But there are so many other different countries that have come to the negotiation table. They say, we want to come and we want to have free trade with the U.S. We'll drop all our tariffs if you will. And that's exactly what we need to have free trade in this world. We also need to bring back products that are made here in the United States. And already we're seeing it. I was really surprised in Walmart. I was there last night doing some shopping, and I was there with my wife, and I come up to the register, and I happened to see a package of beef jerky. There was a whole display of beef jerky, and guess what it said right on the package? Made in the US of A. And I thought, I cannot believe it. They're actually proud of the fact it's made in the USA, because they know that we Americans want to buy from American companies. I will never forget in 2020 and even into 2021, we had a little issue getting cups for our business, as we have a clean energy tea and a protein shake shop selling Herbalife products. And we had a little issue with getting the cups in from China. There was such a shortage of plastic and all that was going on in 2020 due to COVID and everything. And so we had to find ultimate means to get cups. And believe it or not, there was a company that opened up that started making cups and lids in the United States and also Canada. And they could combine. I think maybe the lids came from Canada and the cups came from the USA. At any rate, they were the same company and they would import it. And we were able to get these cups Yes, we had to pay a little bit more, but they were good quality cups. And when we make our teas, in order for them to dissolve correctly, we splash a little bit of really hot water in there, and then we splash cold. And these cups were able to, whereas the Chinese cups would just melt, and now the cup would not sit properly in the cup holder or on the table because it was melted. But these cups from the US of A and also of Canada were such high quality that they would not melt. They actually, you could put hot water or coffee in these plastic cups and essentially wouldn't affect them. Maybe down the road it might have. I also want to say they were uh, biodegradable and environmentally friendly and stuff like that, believe it or not, too. And that company, I actually started buying cups. I just shifted over to them because I really, really like their cups, even though it cost me a little bit more, a few cents more a cup. And I started buying those cups, and then all of a sudden I couldn't find them anymore. And it found out that that company was absorbed thanks to Joe Biden and his removal or his administration, whoever was actually running that administration. It's my understanding that whistleblowers who actually were there have come forward and have said that there were up to 10 different people that were running that presidency at any given time. Not surprised, as Joe Biden definitely was not capable to be president by any means, and so on and so forth. So, we've seen this happen before. How we've had products made here in the US of A is one of the ways to go around the tariffs. Just today, I heard the news that NVIDIA, which makes like processors for computers, or they've made them for years, are now going to be making computers and processors exclusively in the United States. Now, that's amazing. There's so many victories that are going on. And yet, of course, the left wants to tell us that we're in chaos and everything's not going the way it's supposed to. But I can tell you this: President Trump so far has kept every single promise that he said he was going to do. He also has stood up against Ukraine. The globalists absolutely hate that. Oh, poor Ukraine. Oh, poor President Zelensky. Oh, he's a poor boy. He was mistreated. They should have treated him that way. Oh, yes, they should have. Zelensky is not a good person. Ukraine is not a good country. The amount of trafficking, sexual trafficking, especially of children, that has gone on, as well as money laundering and so many different things, including our Congress. Um, Hopefully will all come out here very soon, because it needs to, because people are blinded by their politicians, they're blinded by the media, they're blinded by the government, they're the cover up, they're absolutely blinded by um, you know the very people who are committing the fraud. And so we've been having that going on. And it's all, oh, Russia bad, oh, Russia bad, oh, Russia's bad. I'm not saying that Russia's is bad, but you can be against Ukraine and against Russia and for the United States. It's like you have to tell people how to think now. They want you to do the research for them. They want you to do the thinking for them. And when it doesn't align with what their talking heads are going to say, they are very quick to discount what you have to say. And so that's where we are in so many ways. And you've probably all heard by now the absolute nonsense of the Tesla protest. All these people that were for electric vehicles and saving the environment 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, that were so happy to go out and buy a Tesla. Now they're selling them. Now they're burning them. Oh, we don't care about the environment anymore. Let's burn a Tesla with all those batteries, with all that plastic. That's corrupt the environment. Let's let it all go up in smoke. Yeah, that's what they're doing. And then they have the goal to want to believe that they can just get away with it, that it's free speech. Well, I'm going to tell you right now that free speech does not protect vandalism and violence and criminal activity. Hey, it's that simple. But you'll be amazed at all the people that will argue with you, especially on social media, and try to tell you that it's not a crime when it's free speech. It's not a crime when it's free speech. It's not a crime. And then nowadays, people have the tenacity and the absolute stupidity that want to argue with you that a college student can go to a Hamas protest and should not be deported because they are protected under the Constitution. Well, Marco Rubio will tell you straight to your face. He's been very, very clear that as the Secretary of State, he says that the your student visa is not a birthright, and that if you do not follow the laws of the land, meaning that you come here to peacefully go to school, get your education, and stay between the lines and do not join any kind of terrorist organizations, no kind of Hamas protests, no kind of anti Semitic things, no painting swastikas on Teslas or statues or anything else, that you'll be fine. Yet these anti Americans want to come over here on our dollar, get full ride scholarships, get our tax dollars to provide for them while they get an education, and they want to vandalize our universities and stop other students from being able to get an education. Now, make all that make sense, because it ain't common sense and it ain't freedom of speech and it ain't protection. I can tell you right now, I have been to a few countries, all right? I have been to about 4 or 5 countries in my life so far that I've traveled to outside of the United States. And I can tell you every single one. All right. I've been to Israel. I've been to UK. I've been to Mexico and I've been to Canada. All right. I haven't been to any country too extreme, but I have been like to Israel during war times between 2006 or excuse me, 2001 and 2006 is the years when I went 10 different times. Had an opportunity to go to Israel during that time. It was actually amazing. Even the State Department said, you shouldn't be going right now. And I went anyway. Because guess what? As a free thinking American, I take my freedom seriously and I was going to go support the Israeli people. And therefore, I went. So anytime a government that tells you you can't go to another country, you can go. You move freely. So when Canada says don't come to the United States, hey, come to the United States. You don't have to listen to them unless you basically have no brain and you're just going to do whatever you're told to do by your government. So there's a difference of knowing when to listen to your government and not listen to your government, when it's peaceful, when it's respectful, yet you know it's safe to go. But I can tell you for a fact that if I were to go to Israel, because I actually had it happen. Let me tell you a personal experience. All right, I had washed my passport, and I left it in my shirt, and my shirt got washed, and so the passport was still relatively together, but it was damaged. But you could still see the picture and everything. And so I was headed to Israel and I was stopping through London. And so I went up to the ticket counter and I was on British Airways. And they went and they gave me my tickets and they said, have a nice flight. And I showed them my passport and they're like, we don't know. You can go to the U.S. consulate in the airport, see if maybe they could help you. I went down there. They said, you're actually um, you know, you're a U.S. citizen. We can't help you. They're like, go ahead and go and see what happens. I said, all right. So I get on the plane and I'm cleared all the way to Heathrow Airport. I go to Heathrow Airport and I go through customs. And Heathrow's like, welcome. At that time, they were like, welcome to London. Enjoy your stay. And I was only going to be there for a few hours. Well, we went to the ticket counter there at British Airways, and we told them our situation, showed them our passport. The president of British Airways came down, and she she met with me, talked with me, and she looked at the passport and she said, "Well, it's still intact. I don't know what the Israeli government is going to do, but I'm going to give you a pass to get on the plane and you make it to Tel Aviv and you see what happens." So I said, "Okay." So I am with my family, and we had actually tried to go to the American consulate there in London. Turns out they were observing some obscure American holiday we don't even observe, and so they were closed for the day. So it was a wasted taxi ride there. But other than to see London a little bit, so I get on the plane and I land in Tel Aviv, right? And so I go up to customs. Customs says, come over here," and they put me in an observation area and they watched me for like 45 minutes or something. It seemed like it was 6 hours. Had these guards, policemen type looking customs officials walking by me, looking at me, all this type of thing. So they took my passport and they said, "All right, you have two options. One is we put you on a plane back to America." That was what they wanted to do, send me back to America. And I said, "Well, I really would like to stay." I was staying for 10 days, whatever it was. And I would like to stay with my family. Is there any way I can somehow, anything, if I need to go do something, somehow get my passport fixed, um, if there's a way to do that here in Israel, then I will do it. And so after some time, I believe it was like 2 hours. We were all waiting because my family wouldn't go ahead without me, and so we're waiting, and they finally gave us a temporary visa, and they gave us, normally you could get like a 30-day visa, but they gave me like I think it was like a 7-day, or it might even been shorter than that visa. And they told me that I needed to go to the American consulate before I came back to the airport, and I needed to get a passport. So we went to the one in Tel Aviv, and um, I don't remember exactly what happened there, but they had too many appointments, were too busy, couldn't help us. They told us we could go to Jerusalem to the consulate there. So we get up to Jerusalem, and we get over there to the consulate, and I had to get a passport picture made and bring that and everything, fill out the application. And they told me that it would be like a month before I could get a passport back. And I told them, "I have this flight I'm supposed to be on. Here's my ticket. I need to be on this flight. Um, I need to be able to leave." And they were able to give me a temporary passport. I had to pay like whatever, I had to pay like $100 for the temporary passport. It seemed like it was kind of expensive for this. It was like a 1 month passport. It was the ridiculous thing. And they're like, when you get back to America, you're going to have to get a new passport. And so I said, okay. So we had to go back and forth, and finally got there, and I finally get my passport in time to, I had a day or two to be able to fly out of there. But the point being is, even there in that experience, like I could not enter Israel without a visa. I wouldn't even want to try. I mean, they got Uzis over there. I mean, I've had the privilege to even shoot one of their Uzis, but it was on the they had to take it off of the automatic and turn it to the manual position for me to be able to shoot it, to do a little target practice. But I definitely would want one of them Israeli soldiers or the Israeli police or customs officials chasing me, because they definitely would outrun me, out tackle me, out everything. And so then there's the same thing over there. They have farm workers from China and from different places of the world, people that come and farm for them over there in Israel. A little bit similar like we have here. And on occasion, some of them will overstay their visa. And it's not a pretty thing when you get found out. You get arrested. I don't know off the top of my head what all the penalties are, but there is a penalty of sorts, and you're deported. And probably not let back into the country. It's a serious offense, and a lot of countries look at it that way. I know getting into Heathrow Airport, were so welcoming the two times that I went into London. They were just so loving and friendly, especially to us Americans. They would just see our passport and say, "Welcome, welcome, have a nice time." And sometimes I was like, you know, you want to do a background check on us? You really want to be so welcoming? And it's almost like the border was wide open, so to speak. Although that's not totally accurate, but it's my understanding it's gotten worse over there. London is looking much like America was and still is looking before we've had these illegal immigrants taken care of and removed. I don't understand why it is not more common sense. Look, I get it. I went through a period of time. I wanted illegal immigrants to be able to be welcome, to be able to be given citizenship. And then I began to realize and had my eyes opened, and an awakening took place that helped me to be able to understand that it's not just about welcoming some people that are nice. When you're dealing with these MS-13 gang members, for example, and they're not the only ones, we have Haitians, we have Venezuelans, we have people that have ended up in our country, especially the last 4 years, that have no business being here. These MS-13 gangs, many of them have murdered a minimum of 20 people. And these bleeding heart liberals are like, oh, they haven't done anything worth sending them out of here. You kidding me? They've murdered 20 to 30 people each. There may have been a day of time. I saw an interview for one of them. It was in El Salvador. He said that he joined the gang, or was, I don't know what happened. He became a member of the gang at 11 years old. And when asked if he feels remorse for what he done, he said, the only remorse and regret I have is that I'm going to die here in this prison because I've been caught. That's the type of animals that we're dealing with, that were allowed in our country by the last administration. And they're liberal left in the fake news media. And I'm telling you, I cannot emphasize how bad our news media is, especially here in America. And people fall for it over and over and over and over. They like to use terms like, well, these people are undocumented. No, they're illegal. These people crossed our borders illegally. They were brought here illegally. These people did not go through the proper channels to actually get citizenship, to actually earn what it means and what it takes, and learn what it is to be an American. I have a number of friends, especially on social media. Some of them I know personally. They have immigrated here. I don't know necessarily their whole status, but I can tell you this: they too easily fall for socialism and communism and want to vote in people like Bernie Sanders. We have a problem, folks, when these people who are immigrants, even the legal ones, haven't been properly vetted and been given a proper understanding of what America is all about, what our values are, and what we stand for. And these very same people are redefining what moral means. I have recently learned and understood that these terms are changed. They're being changed. I was so concerned when I heard people talking about how Trump is an immoral man and he has all these wives and all these type of things. And I'm like, okay, well, there's some fact to that. And then the left are like points at, someone like Bill Clinton and says he's a man of morals. And I'm like, but he had a blowjob in the White House in the Oval Office. But you say he's a man of morals, and then I have quickly realized that what they mean is morals is actually abortion and transgenderism. When it's dealing with people on the left side, they're people of morals. They're social gospel type people. They're about giving you everything free. Those are the people with the morals. That's what they're considering moral now, is actually those kind of things. In fact, more recently, it's ironic. I believe it was AOC was standing up for this guy who murdered somebody, and she said he's a good moral man. This is the kind of nonsense that is going on. The left has lost their minds, quite frankly. They are in chaos, have no leaders. Now they have Bernie Sanders going around and AOC, you know, going around saying they're fighting to get the oligarchy. And they redefine the term oligarchy now because you can't call Bernie Sanders an oligarch. He's a millionaire, owns 3 homes. Oh, and we can't talk about George Soros either because I was informed by one of my social media followers. There's not really a follower, it's just somebody that commented. I was informed that it's important that we don't use terms like oligarch too much because they lose their value if we call too many people oligarchs. So we got to only call people like Elon Musk the oligarch because that's what the news media tells us to do. That's what our talking heads tell us to do. That's what people like Elizabeth Warren tell us to do. They tell us to say these things, and so they do the thinking for us. And because God forbid any of us actually have to use our brain and actually think and actually stop and go, wait a minute, this stuff doesn't make sense. This stuff doesn't even align with what my party pushes and what my party says is supposed to be happening. This is why so many men, especially, are leaving the Democratic Party because they're realizing the ridiculousness, especially from women who have gotten a college education. They are pushing Marxism. Is it crazy how many women now they're in their 40s and 50s and 60s? It's those section right there. It's Gen Xers and baby boomer women. Oh, well, we're educated. We're not like those uneducated Trump supporters. We don't need men. We don't listen to men. We don't want a white man. So we pick a white man. His name is Bernie Sanders because we love how he says oligarch. We love how he's so cute and such a cute old man. We just, oh, isn't he so cute? He's so precious. Oh, he wants to give us everything for free. He promises everything for free. So disregard that he has 3 houses. Disregard that he has millions of dollars because it's people with billions of dollars that are the problem. And thus goes the poverty mentality over and over and over again because these women are so gullible. They are to the point where they are standing up for the rights of a man who wants to be a woman over supporting each other. How insane and ridiculous is that? The percentage of transgenders in this world is so small, and yet these women have been indoctrinated. You need to be supporting women, aka transgenders, men who are posing to be women. And I can tell you right now, especially if you're like me, 6'2", you're still a man and you could hurt somebody bad, especially in sports. You have no business being in sports. Look, I don't care who you're having sex with. I don't care who you're attracted to. That's none of my business. But you want to push all this nonsense on us and try to tell us that this is supporting women? That's gullible. That's ridiculous. And your education was a waste of money. It was a scam for you to go get that useless degree that has made you worthless, has made you hate your country, has made you ineffective and unable to see the reality of what's really going on. And these very same people don't want fraud exposed. Some of these same people, have been part of fraud. There's been so much uncovered. It turns out there's nonprofit organizations that have been getting millions of dollars from the federal government. They go to the address, it's an empty building, no employees. They're collecting these funds. They're money laundering organizations. Well, it's a wonderful thing that we have President Trump as our president. Because I'll tell you another crazy thing that I still can't get over. I'll never forget. I had Christian ministers tell me that it would have been better after an Obama presidency for Hillary Clinton to win the presidency for 4 or 8 years and destroy America so that Donald Trump can save it rather than Donald Trump to step in and save it back in 2016. Why would you want America destroyed? Is that again part of our university system that indoctrinated our people to think it was okay for our country to be destroyed? Is it the religion? Is it the promise of the rapture that, oh, we're all going to be taken out of here, so it doesn't matter what we do to our country? It doesn't matter what we do to our environment. Is that where it comes from? Because here we are in 2025 having to pick up the pieces of these kind of ideologies of throwing our country away, wanting it to go bad, not wanting to make the world a better place. Maybe a lot of it is because it goes against the theology of so many people. The theology that the world can't evolve, can't get better, can't become a better place. The air can't become cleaner. Sin can't be removed off of the earth. It has to get worse. And then a Messiah will return. But what if we, in part, are the Messiahs? What if we have been sent here to make the world a better place? What if we have been given another opportunity? The truth is, we have been given another opportunity. It's a miracle that the trends, that the way we were headed as a country, we are about to go off a cliff. And unfortunately, many on the left side have gone off that cliff. We tried to warn them, but they didn't want to listen. They wanted the free things. They wanted the free houses that were promised, the free cell phones. They wanted to collect a check. And they sold their souls for a Big Mac. It happened in 2020 with the vaccines. It happened time and time again where people were promised free things, and so they voted for the candidate for the free things rather than fight for their freedom. Fight for what you stand for. Fight because you love America, not because you hate it, not because you want to tear it down, not because you want to be a criminal and you want to be violent and you want criminals running our streets. I am thankful today for President Trump that he has removed so many illegal immigrants, that all these different people have been sent to El Salvador. And by the way, there's this man in Maryland. Back in 2017, the courts ruled he was a danger and a member of MS-13. He was here illegally. Well, he got sent in a batch of illegal immigrants to El Salvador, to the prison there. He is a MS-13 member. Yes, he has a wife and kid or kids here in America, and they will claim he's not a gang member. But I'm going to tell you right now, he is a gang member. You don't get MS-13 tattoos on you unless you're a gang member. People are like, well, he didn't get his due process. He already did. He's already in the system as an illegal criminal. And therefore, he was deported to El Salvador. Well, we have had these activist judges that are district judges that somewhere along the line begin to believe that they can rule against the president of the United States and do anything they want. That they are not only above the law, but they can write the laws now. And so these judges ruled that this man needs to be brought back from El Salvador. And then the next day, a judge overturns that and says, no, leave him there. Then the next day, what says, send him back. Back and forth we go with the insanity that the left and these activist judges who we should not have in our land. We don't need people who have misjudgments. We don't need activist judges. We don't need 600 judges in our land in the first place. Well, now, I believe it was today, the president of El Salvador met with President Trump, and he says, I just loved hearing him say it. He says, I don't even know how to sneak a terrorist into the United States. I don't have that power. I will not be sending him back. He will remain in the prison in El Salvador. What a great man! We actually have a president of another country that's looking out for our freedoms and getting the criminals off our streets. That's what we need. We need men and women who will stand up for America, who will fight for us. And so, as President Trump said, as the media was trying to tear him alive, particularly CNN, he told them, he said, look, you should be saying thank you for getting these criminals off the streets. How many times do we have to keep answering the same question over and over and over? And he has a good point. When will the media ever learn? Never. I don't expect the media ever to tell the truth. The media never has told the truth, not from day one. That's why they're the media. They make up stories, make up lies, destroy people's lives, laugh about it, make a lot of money off of it, and seem to never pay for it. But we all know karma is a bitch. And the things that you do come back and will bite you. These lying spirits are led into homes of people who claim to be Christians, who should have discernment. They'll listen to these same people over and over and over and over again as if they have the gospel truth. And ladies and gentlemen, in many ways, that's why we're in the mess we're in. But things are getting a whole lot better. And the encouraging thing about it is, these last 4 or 5 years, and even beyond that, we've been preparing. We've been preparing. We've been gathering together. We've been going to the rallies. We've been researching. We've left no pebble unturned in understanding where we are as a country and as a great nation. The United States of America is a wonderful country. The United States of America will never be a socialist country. If it means that all non-citizens have to be deported to get us to that place, so be it. But it would be better for us to clean our streets and even go overboard and send a few extra by accident if the media wants to call it that, than to miss some of these terrible criminals that shouldn't have ever been in our country. What I don't understand is why there was no outcry from those who claim to love this great country when they were let in. Why did these activist judges say anything when the Biden Harris administration and Autopen was just opening our borders? Yes, even flying them in from these other countries, giving them jobs, giving them commercial driver's licenses. That's a conversation we need to have sometimes. They've destroyed our trucking community, trashed it. It's terrible what has happened. But the wonderful thing is we're headed the right direction. Patriots, we got to hold the line. We got to remain strong. We've been through all this nonsense before. We've been through the censorship, the lies, the slanders, the tearing down. It's all part of the old playbook. Yes, we won by getting President Trump in as president. But we got to make sure Congress continues to do their job. We got to make sure that these activist judges are removed. We've got to make sure that justice is done. We got to secure our borders. And we got to continue to move forward as a nation. I believe if we continue forward and hold the line, we truly will see the most amazing golden age that there ever was. Yes, my friends, tariffs do work. Securing our border works as well. Enforcing the laws, particularly the Constitution, is the way to go. Bringing back the Republic, making sure voter ID is passed and enforced, making sure that illegals don't get in our country, and making sure they don't vote, and making sure people understand what their rights truly are. It's not open for interpretation. It's based on how it should be. Yes, some people might, well, they're just so mean, or they're so mean. We have to be because we've been raped, pillaged, mistreated, abused for far too long. And most of us in our lifetime have never seen a president that actually has stood up and fought for us until we had President Donald J. Trump. And I also want to thank Elon Musk for all that he has done, for his support of President Trump, for standing beside him. It's ridiculous what they've done to him. People should be ashamed of themselves. They say they're for the immigrant, but they'll sure be against an immigrant when the rubber hits the road. But in the end, truth will prevail. No one can stop what is coming. And that's a beautiful thing. Well, my friends, I will close out this particular podcast. I hope that it was encouraging, informative. It was a good time spending this time with you. Once again, thank you for tuning in. Hopefully, I'll have a little more time to be able to record these a little more frequently. Have a great day.